I believe reading books can absolutely transform a person, and in this video, we're finally going over the books that are always in the background of my videos, a question that's been asked for like the last 2-3 years now, and I genuinely believe these books played a major role in shaping my mindset into a place where I actually was able to start and run multiple businesses and just overall grow as a person. Honestly, not even trying to clout ride books and make a video just to make a video, I truly believe I wouldn't be where I am today at least business-wise if I didn't read some of the books we're going to be discussing in this video and just books in general. I think there's something there in taking time out of the day to sit down, focus, and read a physical book. Not only do you gain some major nuggets from the particular book, but I think it also really builds up your discipline. With so many distractions in our lives, it's kind of tough to actually pick up and read a book. It's a lot easier to mindlessly scroll through social media, watch some Netflix, run up a little COD. So I think there's also this discipline building aspect of reading books, and if you don't know, Jocko, tell him.
Fact, discipline is the path to freedom.
But on a serious note, I know I'm probably gonna clickbait this video something like books that made me a millionaire, which is true, but I don't mean that these are all step-by-step invest in a Roth IRA guides on how you can make money. It's books that kind of shaped the way I think, which led to me starting some of the businesses that I talk about in previous videos. Anyways, let's dive into the first self-help finance type book I ever absorbed, which was Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I say absorbed and not read because at the time I was in high school working a minimum wage job, so I wasn't trying to drop a cool 1-2 hours of work to buy the actual physical copy, so I ended up using like a free trial of an audiobook service to listen to it. This book goes over a lot of major wealth building concepts and can just overall shift your financial perspective, especially if you're completely new to personal finance, you're not subscribed to Graham Stephan, you don't know who Meet Kevin is yet. This is a must cop. It talks about making your money work for you, assets versus liabilities. Most people work really hard to then spend their money on liabilities, stuff that takes money out of their pockets, materialistic possessions, balling out on the weekends, but that's not how you build wealth. Don't buy that jet ski. It also gets into some basic tax finessery concepts. It's an easy read, just an overall great book to read in order to build up the foundation for your financial literacy and get you looking at money differently. Next up, we have Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. This one's a heavy hitter. First off, just a really interesting read. Lots of intriguing scientific and real life case studies in here in regards to the psychology behind influence and persuasion. If you're interested in marketing, sales, or just business in general, this is for you. And then on the flip side, if you have no interest in those things, this book will help you understand and recognize certain techniques that are being used against you when someone is trying to sell you something, or even just in your personal life when someone is trying to convince you to do something or believe something. It explains why people behave in certain ways and the reasons behind why people make certain decisions, as well as how you can slightly influence some of those decisions through 7 different principles that are outlined in this book. The way Rich Dad Poor Dad is a good foundation for financial literacy, I think Influence can be a great foundation for your marketing knowledge. That's definitely what it was for me, but on top of that, it's just a very interesting book to read. Third on the list is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Sus title, but this book had a major impact not only on me, but millions of others who read it. I know it sounds like a book for psychopaths based on the title, but that couldn't be further from the truth. This one's actually all about putting the focus whenever you're interacting with someone, not on yourself, but on the other person, avoiding arguments, overall being a better communicator. So following the principles of this book, you're probably going to become a more likable person, but that's not because it has the top 10 sneaky ways to manipulate someone. Psychologists hate it. It's because the principles in this book, if applied, just make you a better, more empathetic person, so naturally you can win more people over. This can definitely help you in your business and in your professional career, but also all of your personal relationships. Communication is everything. I remember reading this book in high school. I'd really have to do some sneaky sleight of hand action every time I'd whip it out, laid flat on the table, just because I wasn't trying to be seen reading a book with a sus title. But I'm really glad I read it, and this is one that I would recommend everyone read. Fourth on the list is The Millionaire Next Door, which is a book based on a 9-month survey of over 1,000 wealthy individuals in regards to the key factors of how those people became wealthy. And the big thing that the authors found was that real millionaires don't look like millionaires, don't dress, don't eat, don't act like millionaires. With the rise of flex culture on social media, it seems like everyone is doing better than you. Everyone got a fat whip, a thriving business. Everyone's posting their big dubs, never the losses, which I think leads to a lot of subconscious comparing, and then that can lead to a feeling of not being good enough. So in our current fake Instagram culture, I think this book is more important than ever. It talks about what the average millionaire in the US actually looks like and how they got there and stay there, which is very different than what the media will show you. This book definitely had a huge impact on me and my spending habits. too many people are spending money that they don't have to impress people they don't like. There's a good amount of real life stories and examples in here that are inspiring. Overall, a great finance book that can help you have a healthier relationship with money. And it might seem like, oh, well, that's stupid. What's the point of life and having money if you're not going to spend it? You shouldn't obsess over it. In reality, though, it's kind of the opposite. A lot of people, even making great money, are still living paycheck to paycheck and stressing over it because they're living way above their means. Whereas if you're more frugal and live below your means, you can worry less about money and be less of a slave to it. And that's how you can truly obsess less over it if you think about it. Now, before we get into the secret fifth book, I want to quickly go over two groups of books that kind of make up the remainder of the literature I've had laying on my table in my videos in the past, kind of like some honorable mentions. Some of these have been by far my favorite books. They just don't really fit the theme of the other books on the list, but they're definitely bussin'. Played a major role in the way I think and my mindset, so I figured I should still go over them. So out of the two of those groups, the first group are books on Christianity. As a fella of faith, I believe there's more to life and a deeper meaning behind it. I don't think it's just about having a cool 80 to 100 years and then you're gone forever. In my eyes, that almost seems a little empty, because then what's the point of all of this? We're all just running on this hedonic treadmill that leads to nowhere. I don't know about that. I personally believe in God and an afterlife, and the first book I have on that is a certified hood classic called Mere Christianity. It's kind of like an introduction to true Christianity and what the major beliefs actually are. But then Gunning for God, it takes a logical, more scientific outlook on God and explores that. Pretty interesting read. Then we have Crazy Love by Francis Chan, and it focuses on being more selfless and giving and less lukewarm. I feel like reading this one has definitely motivated me to become a better person. Now, this second group of books are probably the easiest for me to sit down and read. Some of them really had me reading till like 2 a.m. just because I was so invested into them that I'd lose track of time. And these are stories of how major companies were built up, as well as certain come-up stories of particular individuals. On top of just being incredibly entertaining, they're also really beneficial because to me, they humanize the people behind these huge companies, break it down from the beginning, and help you realize that, hey, these people building up the world's biggest companies didn't start off that way, and at the end of the day, they're just humans like the rest of us. So reading through these books is very motivating and eye-opening. First one of these, kind of a bad example you shouldn't follow, but American Kingpin, one of my all-time favorite books. I think I read this thing in like 2 sittings, couldn't put it down. It was that good. And it's about the story of the Silk Road website, which is a website from years ago on the dark web where you could buy different illegal substances and items. I don't endorse that whole concept, obviously, but it was so interesting to read how this pretty regular guy named Ross Ulbricht, I believe, basically just started a $1 billion company right on his laptop, and how Bitcoin played into that. Pretty relevant topic right now. And then simultaneously, the book also shows the FBI side of things and the investigation that eventually led to the capture of Ross, who is currently serving, I believe, multiple life sentences in prison. But such a fascinating read. On a more positive note, though, by the same author, we have Hatching Twitter, also one of my all-time favorites, and it goes into the back-end story of how Twitter was started, the struggles, the power, the betrayal. Mind-blowing to read that whole story playing out from inception to what it eventually became. There's so much more to it than I thought. Then we have That Will Never Work, which is the story of how Netflix was created. Same kind of vibe as Hatching Twitter, very fun and motivating to read about all the twists and turns and the perseverance in the early days of what today is a massive revolutionary company. And the final book out of these, you know I had to do it to him, the Gucci Mane autobiography.
It's Gucci Mane.
I don't even listen to Atlanta rapper Mr. Gucci's music, but his come up story is insane. How he made it out the trenches, going in and out of prison. The book goes into the Atlanta hip hop scene, his days of trapping in the streets, abusive record deal contracts, his rise to fame, the crazy negative side effects of him sipping lean, and how he eventually turned his whole life around. But now getting into the final 5th book on the list, I feel like this one really ties things together since it goes over a theme that can be seen throughout pretty much all of the stories I've read about successful companies and individuals, and this book is called The Third Door. It's a really entertaining story that does a great job of going over this concept of the third door, which basically stands for persevering and creatively doing something outside of the box to slightly finesse your way through obstacles when, let's say, you're building a company, business, or career. I don't know, let's say you want to start doing YouTube and and you really need a green screen, but you don't have money for one. You could, first door, work a job to save up some money. Second door, maybe give up on the idea. Third door, this one is in the back of the building. You duct tape a green bed sheet to your wall and you just make it happen. And that's something I've noticed throughout all the successful company and individual autobiographies I've read. There's this element of taking the third door to creatively persevere through all the obstacles and barriers that come up whenever you're trying to go for something. But that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and have an amazing rest of your day. Peace.